he shot her because she was queer. He shot her because she was queer. You can see so clearly. I didn't think that it was like that before, but when you see the footage, he shot her because she was queer. And you voted for this!
Y'all, stop engaging. We're trying to get them to leave.
What's up, family? So y'all ever notice how some people really think they could do whatever they want with zero consequences? Like laws just hit different depending on who you are. But let's talk about these liberal apologists who ran up on ICE thinking she was doing something noble, in this case, a liberal woman, and trying to obstruct a federal operation like she's staring in a protest movie or something. But then it hit her, right? Reality set in, and you could actually lose your life playing those kind of games. And that's not some TikTok trend. That's federal law enforcement. That's ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And these are people authorized by the government to enforce immigration laws. And they don't play. You try to stand in the way of a federal officer doing their job, that's just making a statement. That's obstruction. That's a federal offense. And if you get aggressive or you put an officer lives in danger, yeah, it gets real fast. And that's how you end up shot. And she knew it too. And you can see it on her face, the breakdown, the tears, that moment where it clicks. Now, I wanted to show you guys in this first video that we just seen the reality of the mindset of the liberal when it comes to feeling like they can do what they want when they want to do it. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to tell them anything, even if it's law enforcement. Now I want to get to the actual wife or partner of the liberal woman, Renee Good, who actually died, unfortunately, due to obstructing an officer, right? That's a federal offense. Like I just broke down when it came to ICE and all of that, because she was an agent of chaos and she shouldn't have been there in the first place. And like I say, two things could be true at the same time. If he could have moved out the way, he could have moved out the way. And if she would have never been in the first place being agents of chaos, interrupting an ICE operation, then none of this would have taken place in the first place for her to even be approached when she didn't even comply with the law when it comes to a federal officer telling her to turn off her engine and get out the car, and she refused to. And then her wife or partner happens to tell her, drive, baby, drive. And this is the woman we about to see right now. I just wanted you guys to see the liberal mindset that just imagine someone living their everyday life. They got somewhere to go. They're not into politics. They just trying to take care of business, chill, take care of kids, go grocery shopping, do that regular everyday thing. And you have liberals in the street thinking they could take over things with no consequences when people got places to go and places to be. You guys just seen in this first video. Now I want you guys to check out the wife/partner of Renee Good, who unfortunately passed away, and her whole mindset of this and her commentary since her lover passed. Check it out.
Today I learned a valuable lesson. If you're gonna go patrol ICE in your vehicle, it's probably best that you have a co-pilot, and your dog isn't a good co-pilot. Kiba and I went out driving around, and we came across a convoy of 3 to 4 ICE vehicles stopped in front of a fucking daycare, because, yeah, they're here investigating fraud, right? Then why does it fucking matter if I stop my vehicle in the middle of the street and I honk my horn? Maybe I'm having a fucking mental health episode, you know? But what did they do? They first of all, one of the agents looked at me and he goes, That was before I even started honking. I literally just pulled up on him and was fucking staring. When other people started honking, I started honking. I sat there and I laid on the horn. And then there was a very loud banging at the back of my car, and before I knew it, there was a person on my driver's side window with their fucking gun. Their big fucking gun, telling me to get the fuck out of here. And I did. And I think I'm more angry and frustrated by this than I am scared.
Well, in regards to her saying that she could be having a mental episode, usually if you have a mental health issue, your loved one, your lover, unfortunately, Renee Good, should make sure that you get the help that you need. And obviously, from my understanding, mental episodes, they happen on a reoccurring basis. So you probably had a history of having mental episodes before then. So how does that really excuse you, if you get what I'm saying, family? Because it should have been taken care of if you have mental episodes, because this couldn't have been the first time you had a mental episode. But you guys see the tears, the breakdown, the moment where it clicks. Wait, I'm not untouchable. I'm not immune. I'm not going to get a slap on my wrist just because I thought my intentions were pure. And this is the part folks don't want to talk about. Power. Power. That's what this really is about. Power. See, when people feel like they always had the power to protest, to block, to resist without consequences, and then suddenly they face real pushback, that shakes them. It makes them feel powerless. And that's what happened with this woman. She realized, oh, this is not a game. This ain't college campus activism. This is real life, and real life has real stakes. And videos like this, they expose a bigger truth. The whole thing reminds me of the situation in Minneapolis in its entirety. Minnesota, where people outrage when the officer didn't get charged. And Trump and JD Vance said he'll get fuel immunity, the ICE officer who got hit with the ton vehicle of her lover. Again, it came down to power, right? Because folks weren't just mad. They're not mad about the verdict, or as this investigation is still playing out, but as far as we know, the verdict as it's still currently ongoing, that he's free. But they're really mad because it reminded them that they can't control the system. They don't control the system. These liberals, these Democrats, that they can't just interfere with government operations and walk away untouched. That's the sting. That's the core of the frustration. Is realizing that if you cross a line, especially when it comes to law enforcement, especially federal, your activism won't shield you. You can end up arrested, charged, or even killed, just like anybody else. And when that realization sets in, that's when the tears come. That's when the panic sets in, because you thought your privilege was going to protect you, and suddenly it doesn't. So yeah, when you look at all of that, and it's not just about one woman and one ICE agent. This is about the bigger picture, power, consequences, and the cold reality that you can't play games with the federal government and expect plot armor to save you. But let's continue.
I'm pissed that I have to back down because you have a gun, and that you will kill me, and that you will kill anybody that stands in your fucking fascist way. But at the same time, I'm at a point in my life where I love it. I like being here, and I don't want to not be here. And it's frustrating to have always been somebody who is involved in protests and involved in speaking out, and has always felt like, for the most part, I've been able to have my right to protest, my right to be angry. And that's not a thing anymore. And I'm really fucking angry about it, and I'm feeling fucking hopeless. But I know I can do other things. I know I can go buy groceries for people who are too afraid to go to the grocery store. I can fucking walk their dogs. I can volunteer my time and my energy in other places. And also, I'm not fucking afraid to come back and sit in my fucking car and honk my horn. You scared the shit out of me today. But I'm not gonna fucking back down. We're not going to back down.
So when you look at all of this, right, when it comes to the mindset, this is a full-blown pattern. Like, what are these people doing? It's the same exact thing that the woman, her lover in Minneapolis was doing before she got herself killed. They run around like ice hunters, not ghost hunters, ice hunters, literally driving around looking for federal agents just so they could play activists of the day and jump into the middle of federal operations. And what do they do when they find ICE? They turn into chaos agents. Chaos agents, obstruction, disruption, loud, obnoxious distractions. They pull up in the middle of the street, block traffic, honk like maniacs, all to interfere with ICE doing its job. And let's not sugarcoat this. Let's not play cute politics. That's domestic terrorism. Yeah. So you don't have to fly a plane into a building to be a domestic terrorist. If you are intentionally disrupting federal operations and creating dangers for officers or civilians, that's textbook terrorism. And that's violence by interference. And now they got the new excuse, as you heard her say, she having a mental episode. Like, that's the go-to now. So you block the road and try to get in the way of a federal agent because of mental health. You don't need, bro. Like, you don't need a protest sign. You need a therapist then, right? You need help. And that's what I'm saying. If this couldn't have been your first episode where you should have got yourself help then. So go lay and chill out, nap it off, and don't use the mental health as a license to act reckless. That's another thing. If you really need help, go get help. And let's talk tactics, because this ain't random. This is organized. This is what they do. They pull up in the street, they slam on their brakes, they stop traffic, they lean on the horn like they're auditioning for Fast and Furious, Activist edition. And it's not about awareness, it's about control. It's about throwing off ICE, making them look bad and trying to embarrass them. But here's the thing. You like being alive, don't you? Let's be real. Your brain, your body, everything in you is programmed to survive innately. You're not suicidal. So when that officer steps out with a weapon drawn, you have a decision to make. And that's when the reality hit. That's when she said, oh, snap. I do this activist stuff, but not at the cost of my life. And that's the moment where she realized, wait, I could actually die here. I could die out here. And she realized this isn't some simulation. This isn't social media. This is real life. This is federal law enforcement. I'm not bulletproof. And what happened next? She folded. Tears, panic, because when the consequences show up, all the performative bravery disappears. And that's the whole point. This is about power. From the beginning, it ain't about immigration. It ain't about ICE. It's about people who are addicted to feeling powerful. And when the reality hits that you don't have the power in that moment, that you can't just interfere and get your way. And it started to make me realize, do these individuals have narcissistic controlling problems, right? To feel so powerful, like a Power Ranger or something. Because you can't just interfere and get your way. And that's when the breakdown happens, because you got two options. You either run away and survive, which means you gave up power, or you stay and you die, which still gets you nothing. And that's the trap she found herself in. She had no power to stop ICE without putting her life on the line. And she knew that. And that's why she broke down, because she saw the truth. She was powerless in that moment. And now you got the media, the left wing, the Democrats, when it comes to the mainstream liberal outlets, media outlets, out here saying all these things, all these activists, and guess what they're doing? They're just trying to rewrite the story. They're out here trying to only show one camera angle, conveniently leaving out the part where the ICE officer got hit by a vehicle. And they are here pretending he just snapped and pulled the trigger for no reason. But they ain't making legal arguments, because legally he was 100% justified in a court of law. Why? Because anyone with a brain knows a multi-ton vehicle is a deadly weapon, period. If a car hits you, while you're on foot, that can kill you instantly. And the law backs that up. So why are they ignoring that? Most officers, whether it's state, local, federal officers, they die in traffic stops because, but like I say, anybody with a brain knows a multi-ton vehicle is a deadly weapon. Because admitting that the officer was right, that his life was in danger, that he followed protocol, meaning admitting they were wrong, the mainstream liberal media outlets and so forth. And when they lost that narrative and they lose that narrative, they lose power. And that's all this is, a fight for narrative control. They don't care about truth. They don't care about, they care about control. They don't care about safety, national security. When it comes to upholding national safety for the United States and the national security for American taxpayer and American citizens and citizens in America. They want to scream, ICE can't do this. ICE is a murderer. ICE should be locked up. But because as long as they can keep this outrage going when the mainstream liberal media, they keep the movement alive. They keep the movement alive, and that's their power. It ain't about justice, it's about power. And in this video, this whole story is clearly the example of what has been said from the jump, and I say it from the jump in this video. These people aren't mad about what happened. They're mad that the truth stripped away their illusion of power. And we all know that when it comes to Jacob Frey and Governor Tim Walz, they're just trying to deflect to get away from the exposing of Somali fraud and the massive fraud that's taking place in Minnesota, but it's not going to happen. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let the love supersede the hate. Spread the peace, love, and positivity. And as always, family, we just having a conversation. Get a video a big thumbs up. Peace.